It's the most massive pickup that you can buy for the money. But does it have more to it than just its size? And is it worth your money? Let's find out.
The Foton offers the Tunland in two variations, the V7 and the V9. Now, when you look at them from the front, they look like completely different vehicles. While the V7 has a boxier look reminiscent of the Ford F-150, the V9 has a slightly more streamlined look, which looks more similar to the Dodge Ram. Now, the individual elements here are also different. They get different headlamps. The V9 gets this squintier quad LED design. The grills are different. If there was one minor thing that I would like to change in the aesthetics of the vehicle, it would be the grill. Right now it looks like one big hole at the center. I wish they added more elements here to break it up a bit. But that's something that you can easily fix with aftermarket modifications. Over here you see a provision for a front camera, but the V9 does not come with a front camera as it doesn't have a 360 camera system. Now they may look very different from the front, but if you walk around the side, you'll see that they have very similar body panels. The silhouettes and the proportions are almost exactly the same. Now there are some minor differences here, like the V9 gets these plastic moldings on the fenders. The V9 gets metal side steps. On the V7, these are made of plastic. The V9 also gets power folding side mirrors. The V7 only gets manual folding mirrors. Yeah, you won't see any cameras here because, like I said, this does not come with a 360 camera system. You don't get any roof rails up here. Now, both the V9 and the V7 come with 18-inch wheels. Only the 4x4 variants of the V7 and the V9 come with all-terrain tires. They may look normal sized or even small on the V9, but these are actually 265/70 R18 tires, which are almost the same diameter as the tires of the Ranger Raptor. Now, both the V7 and the V9 come with disc brakes on all four corners. When it comes to the suspension though, the V7 and the V9 are very different.
Both the V7 and the V9 come with double wishbone suspensions at the front, but the V9 has a more sophisticated rear suspension with additional trailing arms and a track bar. The V9 also has a coil spring rear suspension, while the V7 has a leaf spring setup. The coil springs usually offer better ride quality than leaf springs, while leaf springs are more ideal for carrying heavy loads. Both pickups though have the same payload capacity of 875 kilograms.
Now at the back, the V7 and the V9 look very similar. They get the same LED tail lamps, the same body-colored rear bumper with rear parking sensors. You have this embossed molding over here with a Foton badge. Both the V7 and the V9 come with an assisted liftgate. Only the V9 comes with two tailgate dampers. The V7 only comes with one tailgate damper. And that's because the tailgate of the V9 is a bit heavier. Why is it heavier? Because it comes with this. The V9 comes with this retractable ladder. Now, as you can see, the tailgate is pretty high. It's all the way up to my waist. So getting in the bed can be a bit challenging. With this, it's a bit easier. It's about this high. The V9 does not have the best maximum payload capacity, but it has the biggest cargo volume. And if you're loading stuff like furniture, stuff with fixed dimensions, having those extra few inches matter a lot. A difference of 1 or 2 centimeters can be the difference between being able to load a cabinet or not. Oh, the Foton Tunland, both the V7 and the V9 are the biggest pickups that you can buy for the price. The V9 measures 2,090 millimeters wide and 5,617 millimeters long. Now, to put those numbers into perspective, the Dmax is only 1,870 millimeters wide and 5,265 millimeters long. And even the mighty Ranger Raptor is only 2,028 millimeters wide. So this is wider than even the Ranger Raptor.
The Foton Tunland is one of the few electrified diesel vehicles in the Philippines. It has a 2-liter diesel engine coupled to a 48-volt electric motor. Overall, the mild hybrid system puts out a total of 160 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. Power is sent to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed ZF transmission. Now, the Tunland V9 also comes in a 4x2 configuration, which is about 200,000 pesos cheaper. It almost has the same specs as the 4x4, so really the main reason why you would want the 4x4 variant is if you intend to drive on harsher terrain. Now, you don't usually see full-size trucks going off-road. When you see a truck as big as the Tunland kicking massive amounts of dirt on an off-road trail, it's a pretty impressive sight. Now, we drove the V9 on the harsh landscapes of Pampanga, bordering Zambales. Out here, the lahar can be pretty deep, and having a 4x4 drivetrain is absolutely essential if you don't want to get stuck. Now, I know this because we had a couple of 4x2 trucks with us that we had to pull out a couple of times. The V9 4x4 on this trail was almost unstockable. The traction control system seems to know where to send power every time. It does reduce power a bit when it detects wheel spin, so if you want to do donuts or power slides, you might want to turn off traction control. Thankfully, the V9 also comes with a rear differential lock, which takes all the guesswork out of the equation and just sends power to both rear axles in equal amounts. Now, I say almost unstockable because even though the drivetrain is pretty good, the ground clearance is pretty limited. It has a pretty low plastic lip below the bumper, which reduces your approach angle significantly, and I think you should remove that if you plan to take this off-road. The suspension is a bit soft and the bump stops are pretty high. It can sometimes bottom out when going fast on these undulating sand dunes, but the Tunland V9 held together quite nicely during our little expedition. The lower plastic lip snagged on a few rocks a couple of times, but it was no biggie. So in stock form, you can take the Tunland V9 off-road, although its capabilities will be limited by its ground clearance. A bit of a suspension lift would go a long way to improving its performance though. Now, right before taking the Tunland off-road, the first thing that came to my mind was I would feel really bad about getting this interior dirty, because the Foton Tunland has one of the nicest looking interiors in its price bracket. But before we talk about the interior, let's first hear a quick word from our sponsor. Introducing the AutoSport Mobility Scooter, the world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size, and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into two parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock-absorbing, flat-free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system. Be free to travel anywhere, land, sea, or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life.
The Foton Tunland has arguably the most premium looking interior among pickups in this price bracket, and without a question, it is the most spacious. I have a lot of room here in the footwell. This center console over here is very wide. There is a lot of space between the driver and the passenger. I have a lot of shoulder room here. Headroom is also a lot. It's definitely the most spacious by a huge margin among all pickups in this price bracket. Like I said, this is also the most premium looking and the most premium feeling interior in this price bracket. By the way, we have the engine running right now, and this is a diesel. I have the door open, and you can barely hear it. It is the most refined diesel pickup that you can buy in this price. In terms of materials, almost everything feels premium. Almost everything is covered in soft touch material. This is soft touch right here. This is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped. You get a leather wrapped armrest, leather wrapped seats. By the way, you can get this in two color configurations. There is this chocolate brown and black color scheme. There's also an orange and black color scheme. I think that one has more visual impact, but this one I think is going to be less polarizing. Both front seats are power adjustable. Also, both front seats have a heating function. The seats are also very comfortable. They have decent bolstering. They have good thigh support over here. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. It has a flat bottom. You have paddle shifters there. You have these aluminum looking accents all over the interior. You have them on the dashboard, on the door sidings. This speaker cover over here looks very intricate. The door opener feels premium. You have these glossy faux wood panels on the center console, also on the dashboard and the door sidings. It's just significantly more premium looking than its Japanese and even American competitors. Now, in terms of tech, it is in some ways ahead of its competitors. In some ways, it is not ahead. It gets this huge 14-inch screen. It is the biggest in this price bracket. It is also the best looking. The pixel density is very good. The contrast is very good. Now, you get Apple CarPlay here, but you don't get Android Auto, like on a lot of Chinese vehicles. You do get CarBitLink, which is a phone mirroring app, and that's what you're going to use if you have an Android phone. If you get used to it, CarBitLink is not so bad. It actually offers you a few more features than Android Auto. Because it's a phone mirroring app, you get to access all your phone's apps like Instagram, YouTube. You can watch YouTube videos on your screen, which you can't do on Android Auto. Although Android Auto does feel better integrated. You also don't get a 360 camera here. You only get a reverse camera, although the resolution is pretty good. You also get this huge 12-inch instrument cluster. Now, thankfully, Foton gives us a lot of physical buttons here. Like, you get physical buttons for your climate control. You have a button here for adjusting the fan speed, the temperature. By the way, this only comes with single zone climate control. You also have your buttons here for your seat heating. Now, this is the 4x4 variant, so it gets this 4x4 knob. You can select between 2 high, 4 low, and there's also an automatic mode, which automatically selects your mode depending on your driving conditions. You also have this separate knob on the left side, which is for selecting your different traction control modes. One thing that's different on the V9 is that you get a rear differential lock here, which is definitely helpful when you're going off-road. And you can access that by pressing this button over here. You also have a traction control off button here. You have your hill descent control over here. You get an electronic parking brake with auto hold, and you have a physical auto hold button over here, which you don't get on the Ranger Wildtrak. Yeah, you actually get more physical buttons here than on the Ranger Wildtrak. Now, in terms of storage, you also have a wireless phone charger here. Yeah, you have 2 USB ports down there. They're both USB-A, and you also have one 12-volt outlet over here. In terms of storage, the glove box is pretty decently sized. It's also dampened.
You have a lot of storage underneath the center armrest. You also have an air vent there if you want to cool your drinks. You have two regular sized cup holders over here, and you have a bit of storage underneath the center console. Now, space here at the back is even more impressive. I have a lot of knee room here. I have a lot of room for my feet. The flooring is completely flat. Headroom is also very generous. I have about 3.5 to 4 inches here. You got a foldable armrest with two cup holders. What's also impressive is the width of the vehicle. You can fit 3 people of my size here comfortably, and in a pinch you can fit a 4th one, although he or she would have to be on the thin side. In terms of toys, you get 2 air vents over there, 2 USB-A ports, an AC power outlet. You also get a foldable armrest with 2 cup holders. By the way, you don't get an armrest on the V7. Now, they say that owners of large trucks tend to be more siga on the road. And driving this V9, I can sort of understand where that comes from. Driving the V9, you get this inflated sense of confidence, like you're driving a tank, and everything around you just looks so tiny. Coming from the V7, the first thing that you'll notice here is that the steering of the V9 is a lot lighter than the V7. The V9 has an electronic power steering system. It's also a lot less bouncy than the V7. Overall, it's one of the most refined pickups that you can buy for the price. The engine is very quiet. You can barely tell that you're driving a diesel. The ride is pretty good. There's very little vibration that gets transmitted into the cabin. It's a night and day difference if you're coming from older pickups like the Navara and the Hilux. This just feels a lot more refined. Like the V7, the V9 also has a start-stop function, but unlike the V7, which has a hydraulic power steering system, the V9 has an electronic power steering system which doesn't turn off when the engine turns off. Which makes it less scary when you're making U-turns. On the V7, if you make a U-turn and you come to a complete stop, the engine just turns off and you have no steering, you have no power steering. On the V9, it's less scary because you always get assisted steering whether the engine is on or off. Okay, so we now have a full tank of gas. We're gonna drive this around in the city. We're gonna check in 2 days how much fuel we actually consumed.
One, two, three, let me see what you see. I just wanna understand what you see in me. And 4, 5, 6, am I complicating it? How could anybody love someone so damaged? And we don't always add up, but somehow we're always enough. 7, 8, 9, 10, baby, here we go again. If this is just a fraction of what lies ahead, then count me in, 'cause you know I'm loving this, I'm loving this. You make me feel even though I'm odd.
Okay, so we've done 36 kilometers, a total of 1 hour and 40 minutes of driving at an average speed of 21 kilometers per hour. This is pure city driving. We're gonna put fuel in the tank now to see how much fuel we actually consumed. What? Okay na kayo, okay na. What? So that's, wait lang, 1.4 liters in 36 kilometers. That's not bad. I was expecting 300 pesos. We consumed 1.4 liters in 36 kilometers. That's about 25.7 kpl. That's much better than what I was expecting, and much better than what the econometer is showing. It says here that we're doing 10.9 kpl. Our actual fuel economy is actually 2 times better than that. So that explains why the fuel tank is not moving. It was the same case with the V7. I had that car for a week and the fuel gauge barely moved. I thought it was just the huge fuel tank, but apparently
It is also very fuel efficient, much more fuel efficient than what the gauge suggests. Anyway, we're gonna test the highway consumption of the car now. So we're gonna take NLEX and then Skyway. It's not gonna be pure highway because we still have about 2 kilometers to go before the exit. But yeah, this should be mostly highway all the way to MOA.
Don't wait for me, honey. Don't wait. 'Cause
I forgot to reset the trip meter, but we started at 79 kilometers and we're currently at 85 kilometers. Now so far on the highway, the car is very quiet. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of wind noise considering that it's shaped like a shoebox. And there's also surprisingly not a lot of tire noise considering that we have all terrains here. Anyway, we still have 23 kilometers to go.
you'll always be the one I want at midnight. You'll always steal my breath away, yeah. You'll always be my heart and my life.
Anyway, so 1.3 liters. So 25 kilometers divided by 1.3 is 19.2 kilometers per liter on the highway. So we consumed more fuel on the highway than we did in the city.
The Foton Tunland V9 4x4 sells for 1,998,000 pesos. It may seem steep initially, but I think it also is quite unique in this segment. The Foton Tunland V9 offers a combination of selling points that you won't find in this price bracket. The combination of full-size dimensions and electrification. Now, I know it's a mild hybrid, but it offers the perks of a full hybrid system anyway, like excellent fuel economy and, more importantly, coding exemption, which is a very important thing for a semi-work truck. Imagine not needing another vehicle on your coding day. That could be a major deciding factor for some people. And currently, no other pickup from a mainstream brand offers coding exemption. In the end, the Tunland V9 is not perfect. It lacks some features that are standard in some of its competitors. But it's hard to fault it given how unique it is currently in the segment. If class-leading size, good fuel economy, and coding exemption are important to you, this should be at the top of your list. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more reviews.